Hey everyone, it's Kayvon with Ascari Art. So, as you may know, this painting has been an emotional roller coaster of a ride. And that's why I want to call it Turbulence, because it has been a turbulent ride. From part one, where I just had a lot of difficulty. It just didn't go the way I wanted. I thought I messed it up. I got frustrated. I had to literally walk away. Part two, three, and four, I show you how I actually start solving it and my mindset behind it and the determination and just my thought process as I go through it. In this part, I'm going to show you how I've decided to completely change the painting and not afraid of changing it, because there are parts that I like of this painting, but there's a lot that I don't. So what I'm going to do is eventually you're going to see me start shifting all the color out to the edges in the white space to get that signature cloudy, wispy, smoky feel on the outside, and have it then come in and concentrate. And I'll also show you my mindset as I go through it, what I'm doing, and how I'm moving it. All right, let's do it.
Okay, so the supplies I'm using: nitrile gloves, respirator, 99% isopropyl alcohol. I've poured it in these little containers with a needle point. I've got a blow dryer, a Giotto lens cleaner, and some small mixing cups, and also brushes. So the idea is, so all these lines are coming in this way, right? So this is how I'm just kind of thinking through it. So since all these lines are coming in this way, I'm going to have the direction of these go this way, so that there's a convergence somewhere around here. I don't want the convergence to be smack in the center, because just compositionally, I don't like anything centered. Now, there are reasons to do something like that, but I want the convergence to be right here, kind of off center. And there's going to be more, there's going to be lines coming in. They may be softer. I'm not sure yet. I just got to play with it. All I know is I'm just going to have the direction come in this way, and I'm going to have the convergence right around here. All right? Or in this area right here. So, okay, let's get started. If I change as I'm doing this, I may change it as I go, and it's okay. It's evolving. It's all right, but that's the original direction that I'm thinking about taking it. So if the direction of these lines are going this way, right, you're going to have them go this way, and you've got these going this way. There's going to be a weird intersection here where it's it's not going to have a direction, right? It may be just this. It may be softer. So that's just some stuff to think about as I'm doing it, and as a viewer, just so you can kind of see where my mindset is and what I'm thinking. So I'm a little nervous about this piece still. I don't know why. So what I'm doing now is just pushing this alcohol off, because I don't like some of the areas. I'm just trying to keep the lines So I'm just placing the lines there just to start giving it direction. And letting the color kind of immerse out of it. Using the brush to make it less mountainous, I guess, because of the moisture that we're experiencing here right now. All right, I'm gonna come over here to this side. What I'm doing right now is I'm stepping back and looking at it, making sure that the lines that I'm making here are coming to this area. I've got a lot more work here, and I've got a lot more work there, so let's just keep going. Guiding the alcohol where I want it. Just trying to define the lines by just pouring the alcohol and letting it, guiding it kind of where I want it. Not kind of, guiding it where I want it. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pour some alcohol inside of a clean cup. If I can find a clean cup, would be nice. Let's see. Find my cups. Must be out of cups. That sucks. Let's see if I can clean this one out. Just pouring some alcohol inside of a cup. Making sure I dab my brush. Kind of make my lines again. I need a thinner brush. Okay, but Bubba's busy right now. Okay. Go pee. This part takes a lot of patience because you gotta keep moving it around and use the brush to guide it. And this is where it, sometimes the blow dryer isn't going to work, so I'm just throwing in the alcohol and I'm using the brush to move it. I'm not liking the soft cloudiness of it. Like, I don't want it to be bubble. I want it to be more straight lines. Not straight, but it's okay if it has that effect on the edges, but for me, I'm trying to get like a direction of these lines going towards the focal point that we referred to earlier. So now you can use the blow dryer. I'm not worried about here. I can fix that. Just make sure the lines are. You don't want to dry brush this. This you need to make sure that you have alcohol on your brush. And I'm just bringing in these lines and connecting them to existing. And if I don't like stuff like this right here, I'll go in and straighten it out. So I'll just bring it and reconnect it. Use a thinner brush now, because you want line variation. So we're going to use a thinner brush. And I'm not drawing the line. I'm putting alcohol where I want the space between two lines to be, if that makes sense. So if I want a line here, let me see if I can show you. If I want a line right here, if I want two lines right here, I draw the middle of those two lines and then push it back and forth to give me those two lines. I need more alcohol, but see, like if I want, see, I just keep defining that line and pushing the alcohol towards that edge. See that? Same thing. You gotta make sure your brush is loaded to be able to do this. That's pretty much it. So you just keep going. and I'm working different parts of the painting, not just one area. I'm dissolving some lines while creating others. Bring in the heavy brush. See how the color's just emerging out? I'm drawing kind of like where I want those lines to go, and I come in. And I soften this area up so it doesn't dry. I don't want it to dry yet. I just noticed a drop of alcohol there, so naturally had to correct it. I'm noticing that the sweat from my glove, from inside my glove, is literally dripping onto the canvas, and it's causing issues because it gets hot with these lights and all the stuff I've got here to show you, to make sure that the film looks okay. So you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to try to see if I can fade this area down. Again, moving the lines, trying to let them converge, and also bringing out the colors that I want from within that dark area. See how I'm softening this area up just by adding the alcohol and not adding any lines to it. In the areas that when I'm moving it in, I'm pulling it out, moving it in, pulling it out. You know, the ink, giving it a little bit more direction on where I want the alcohol to go. So, stepping back, I need to add some more lines here to help that direction. So let's do that. So you notice my cup has just residue of the ink. Luckily, I want this blue ink, but if I didn't, I'd have to go back and just get another cup, clean it up, and fix it. So I just draw where I want my lines to be. And then I go in and add the detail. The idea isn't to just for me at least, the idea isn't for me to just pour it and let it run its course. The idea is for me to pour it, move it, have intent behind it, and make something out of it. Not that pouring it and just leaving it is wrong. It's just not my style. And I like to teach you all the styles. So I've done a video where I could kind of I showed that. I'll do more videos with different painting demos to help. Okay, we're going to use a smaller brush here. I'm going to start putting like these lighter lines. There we go. I do want some space in certain areas, so that's why I'm leaving that. So now we're going to go to that side up top and start moving that around. Move my supplies to the top. So this is a pretty big painting. I haven't had to add any ink yet to it. And I'm not sure if I really need it because it is pretty saturated as it is. Just move my stuff around. All right. It's harder for a larger painting like this to stay in one spot. I mean, to move around, sorry. But I try to diversify the areas that I work so that it's more even. Forgot my alcohol. Luckily with this respirator, I can't smell any of the ink. The glasses prevent the fumes from directly hitting my eyes, so it helps out a lot. It allows me to work longer and smarter. So now I'm trying to just, again, do the same thing by changing the direction of this ink. Because right now you got some conflicting lines, as you can see here, right? And that sometimes is okay, but not for this particular piece. And connecting some of the other lines. I also don't want to delete or erase the lines that are already done. But if it happens, it's okay. You just go back. It's an iterative process. Let that dry a bit. I'm letting the ink sit on top of the alcohol ink. I'm letting the alcohol sit on top of the ink to see if I can lift it. And then I move it And see how it changed. The cross lines that are going this way now are going this way. And I may have to use a brush to lift it even more. But for now, this is good. And then you can add a couple more drops. See, I'm adding it out here in the white, and then kind of just pushing it around. I'm an alcohol ink bully. I like to push the alcohol ink around. Yeah, that's terrible. But you kind of have to be a bully with it. You don't, for me at least, I mean, I don't want it to just sit there. So I want to be able to move it where I want it to go, not where it decides to go. And sometimes using the nature of it and letting it go where it wants to go is nice, but why not like direct the nature, right? Direct the nature of it. When you understand how it moves, you direct it where you want it to go, because you know how the nature of it and how it reacts. And I think that's the key to most, is learning the nature. And the nature of it changes based on the type of alcohol you use, right? So 91 and denatured act differently than, you know, 99. I have a video about that. It's similar, but denatured alcohol changes it. So I'm using my finger to kind of loosen this up because my brush is dirty, and I don't want it to sit there for too long. Just reconnecting from the line. About that bully comment, I used to be bullied as a kid. It's not fun. So I didn't mean anything negative by it. Just my intent, or the reason why I say that is you can't, I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, because I was bullied as a kid, and I know how that can be. And we have children now, which can be subject to bullying. A different type of bullying than what I remember when I was a kid, right? Now it's like social media bullying and all this other sorts of stuff. So didn't want to, hurt anyone's feelings or by saying that comment. But you are really moving this ink around and controlling where it goes, and using its nature to identify, knowing its nature, you kind of start knowing what to do to make it do what you want it to do. Okay, so what I want to do now, okay, so I'm stepping back and kind of looking at it and making sure that I'm not too crazy and shifting everything down this way. So I need to push some of it up that way so that there's just a, I don't know, it just feels right to kind of push some of this in. So I'm going to do that. Using my finger to kind of just guide it. What just happened? I think a bead of sweat landed into the, no joke when you say sweat and tears. I had tears early on in this video and now I have sweat. So, luckily I don't have any blood in it, so it may gross people out. Just softening some of these edges. Okay, so now I need to use the brush and connect this to that. So the alcohol has a pathway to move on. So now I'm doing these finer fractures in some of these negative spaces that I have. I want to do like these little lines. It's like very, very fine fractures. Because I want a variation of space between each of these lines. So I'm just dabbing my thin brush. I'm doing that. Connecting some of the other lines. Doing the fine lines here. Making sure they don't stop. There's a connection. And it continues and reconnects to some of the other lines. Okay. So I'm gonna take a break. I'll be back. I need to take a 45-minute break or something. I'll be back. All right, I'm back. So after looking at this, it's I need to soften. It's more or less the same everywhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in some alcohol to kind of soften all of these lines on the outside so that it doesn't feel like it's all the same. Still need to make sure that the line still connects. So I still need to bring in, just because I want to soften it doesn't mean I don't want the lines to connect. All right. Let's do the same over here. you can't be afraid of changing it. Again, I looked at it and I kept looking at it and I'm like, what's not working about this piece? To me, it felt like there's too many areas that were more or less the same. So, and I don't want that. I want a variation. And luckily with alcohol ink, you can do that. So, and that's what I'm doing. Just making it. This is how we adapt and evolve based on, as an artist. You can't be. Okay. So now I'm gonna do the other side. So we're gonna go around. I just, as an artist, you gotta pick and choose your, I know what I want to achieve, but also want to make sure that it fits along the rest of the series of pieces that I'm working on. So the first one started with, the first one that I did that was similar to this style is the Glacial Pressures one that I did. It was the blue one. And now, this piece, I want it to fit among that look, So what I'm going to do now, soften this area, leave the compression there. So make sure that Actually, it'll allow me to do even more compression in the center if I soften up the edges. So, something to think about. And in order to achieve this softness, you have to pour a lot of alcohol. Connecting these lines. Making sure that the direction is still there. I'm kind of blurring it, you know, so there's a variation. I haven't said much because I'm still working this through. I'm just making sure that you see the process as I'm working it through. I'm just kind of in the zone right now. What's cool about taping this or videoing it is that you see the iterations of how it's taking place and how it's coming about. And some people may say, "Oh, why did you do that? Why did you mess it up?" It's again, it's the intent of the artist, right? Um, a lot of people wouldn't have even known that what it looked like if I hadn't recorded it. So, because this stuff evolves and changes. So what I'm gonna do. Excuse me. Okay, so I'm liking that. I think we need to do a little bit more here. Just softening it up. All right, let's go over here now. Letting it absorb. And drawing the lines in. Luckily, I have enough ink in here to be able to do this, to kind of push it out, soften it. Some cases I have to add ink. In this case, I don't. I still want to make sure that it's going in the same direction. So that's why I'm adding these lines, to make sure that, like this line right here is connecting nicely. And then this line splits. I'm still aware of all the outside edges. I'm still looking at the direction. So I'm softening. So I didn't like that line, so I'm gonna go back and kind of just soften it up again and draw the lines back again. Add more alcohol. I'm going to bring in my thin brush. Make sure these lines aren't too jagged. And the reason why these lines are jagged is because of the texture of the canvas, not because of moisture. It's the texture of the canvas that does that. In some cases on Yuffo paper, if it does it on Yuffo paper, it's because of the moisture. But since this is canvas and it's not sanded smooth, you're going to have, you're going to have that. And that adds to it, in my opinion, because it's the texture of the canvas. You see the texture, you feel it. I'm softening this area up just with a dry brush. And dip it a little bit. If I don't like it, I'll just go in, add just a little bit of ink, and you just kind of use my finger to guide where I want it to go. Okay, now we're going to do this area. I'm spreading it out. I'm pushing the ink back out so that I have a continuance of where the ink is coming from. And then I'm making sure that I keep the lines connected. Wish you could see this in close-up, but it's coming together really nicely because it's softening up some of the edges that I wanted to do. I'm kind of bringing the whole canvas in versus like just keeping it concentrated in the middle. See, so it's giving it this other layer of dimension here. It's very soft, and then it gets really compact, and that's the intent. So just keep going. So this area here, I've noticed, right here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make sure the line is smooth. Keep softening. Now some of the base layers are gonna still show up, and that's okay. That's what I want. I want kind of the difference in texture. Right here, I'm gonna make sure. Okay, so I'm gonna fill up my alcohol container and come back and do more. You can see I'm kind of spreading it out, pulling some of that color back out so that it doesn't feel so compressed. This will give it more dimension and just kind of a little bit more softness around the edges. So I'm connecting the lines here. So I'm softening this up and drawing the viewer in. So I've got quite a bit of work to do to soften it, but I need to go to the other side and do the same thing. And like, it's just, going back and forth and working it, stepping back and looking at it, see if there's anything else I can do to correct some of the issues that I see. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn it and go the other side, do the other side. Um, so I'm gonna flip it around pretty much so I can work on it from this perspective. And then I'll decide whether or not I want to add gold or chrome or whatnot. I'm kind of liking the way it looks. So I'll be back. I'm going to take a quick break and I'll be back.
Hey everyone, so I think I'm going to take a break. I'm going to let it sit for about a day, come back to it with refreshed energy, positive energy. Started noticing that I'm starting to make mistakes and it's starting to build up, and I don't want that. I want to have a very clean, clear, positive energy as I'm painting, because frustration could lead to just ruining the painting. Please subscribe if you haven't done so. Hit the little bell to notify you anytime I come up with a new video. I have a Patreon page if you didn't know that I just set up. I'll put the link down below. And basically, that supports the channel. I've just bought quite a few canvases pre made for demos that I'm going to do every week. Stay tuned for that. And, I'm not going to sell those demos. I'm pretty much going to give them out to our Patreon subscribers. So stay tuned for that. And in Patreon, I'm not doing any incentive really besides the drawing and the giveaways of the art supplies and some paintings that I'm doing, the demo paintings, and also you'll see some behind the scenes stuff, from screenshots that I take from my setup, outtakes, so on and so forth. So, and if you like this apron, it's on my website, ascariart.com. You can go to merchandise. I've got T-shirts that describe that say my mantra: create, inspire, and repeat. And you can purchase this. You can purchase T-shirts, tank tops, and so on and so forth. So thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for being you, and thank you for joining me on this journey.